Hello, welcome back to another video on the channel. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like and subscribe, and happy Friday the 13th. So, today's video is going to be a different video. It's going to be 10 things you probably didn't know about Jason Voorhees. Number 10. Someone tried to steal the Jason Voorhees mask from KANE HODDER. For those of you who know Friday the 13th franchise will know that the longest time running Jason in history, KANE HODDER. You'll also know that he is not a small man by any means, but that still didn't try to stop someone from trying to steal the Jason mask right in front of his eyes. I was outside alone getting ready for a shoot, sitting on a bench with the mask off. Just then, the stranger comes by and tries to steal it. I don't know if he knew the value of it, and he tried to make a getaway with my prized possession. I grabbed him and he took a swing at me, so I punched him in the side of the head and he went down so hard he hit the curb. That was during the shoot of Jason Takes Manhattan, and Hodder was ready in costume and wouldn't mess around on a normal day, never mind in his Jason outfit. Wow, don't mess with KANE HODDER. Maybe just wait until they sell it to you. Don't try to steal it, especially not in front of KANE HODDER. Bloody hell. Number 9. The paintball scene was meant to be like Rambo. Even though having a very small Jason stunt double jumping out of a tree was probably a huge mistake in the scene, the original plan for the paintball scene of Friday the 13th Jason Lives was way worse. Instead of paintballers, the scene called for a group of hunters that Jason would go around laying waste to. That sounds fine enough, but it's the aftermath of the scene that would have killed the film. Originally, Jason was going to leave the scene with bullet belts and guns strapped over him. Basically, he was going to be an undead Rambo. He was going to have a Uzi, sorry if I pronounced this wrong, why people would be hunting with a Uzi. I have no idea. People have screwed up Jason before, but making him a heavily armed tank was all he needs to a machete, pitchfork, and just his bare hands is a huge mistake. Number 8. Jason fought Leatherface before Freddy. Freddy vs. Jason was a big deal for nearly 2 decades before the film finally came out, and disappointed a lot of the horror community, a lot of horror fans. But that's beside the point. Did you know that Jason actually got into a fight with Leatherface well before he ever ended up fighting with Freddy? That's right. And no, it wasn't in the video game from Mortal Kombat X might make you think. It was in form of comic book. Crystal Lake is flooded with toxic waste, and for some reason that matters to Jason. So Jason takes a train to Texas and meets up with Leatherface, who introduced Jason to the family, of course. Everything goes downhill eventually, so we can have the epic battle between the two. I really wish we got that in film form. I think that would have been an awesome thing to have in film form. So I do wish that they did that in film instead of not making it a film. Number 7. Jason's father showed up in the comics. No one ever really thinks about Jason's dad, but he must have had one, right? It turns out his father's name was Eliza Voorhees, which means that Pamela must have still been married to the man when she went nuts and killed everyone. That or she just kept the name for no good reason. Either way, with no surprise, Jason's dad turns out to be abusive, overweight, alcoholic, and he used to beat Pamela when she was pregnant. Apparently, which could explain why Jason had so many birth difficulties. According to the comics, it turns out that the camp counselors weren't the first people that Pamela killed. She chopped Eliza's into bits and buried the evidence, burnt the evidence even, and then had Jason. Eliza's was meant to appear in Friday the 13th, Part 6, to make sure that Jason and Pamela stay buried. And that would make no sense unless he came back like Freddy, since he would been buried to the ash. Wow, that would have been pretty cool if he showed up, but I don't think it'll make sense. Number 6. Jason's name was meant to be Josh. The writer of the very first Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, had originally planned to call creepy Margot kid who jumps out of the lake at the end Josh, I think. Thankfully, it was changed at the last minute. The name was changed to Jason. You have to be aware here that Jason was never meant to be a significant character. So the one that simply stand alone couldn't have really mattered if he was called Josh. But there you have to be some theories. If the name was changed at last minute, became Josh, it didn't sound badass enough. Which is true. And it's a good thing that they changed. Imagine if people were running away from Josh VOORHEES. All those decades, he just sounds like the guy everyone at camp would hang around with and smoke up with since he grew up at the camp. Imagine Josh takes Manhattan. Josh versus Freddy. Or Freddy versus Josh. Josh lives. It just doesn't sound right. Now, this one's a little weird and a bit different. Number 5. Freddy had a little fun with Jason, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, so to be fair, this was never an actual part of the storyline. That was never actually came to life, but in nearly 20 years of development trying to get a Freddy vs. Jason film out, New Line Cinema spent over $6 million on 18 different scripts. One of those scripts had Freddy as a camp counselor at Crystal Lake before he went back to Springwood to kill all the kids there. Apparently, Freddy might have diddled Jason just before Jason drowned. Now, Freddy was always known to be a child murderer, and I'm sure a lot of people assume that he touched the kids too, but I don't think that's ever going to be an official part of Freddy's story. So I guess Jason was just an extra special boy. So I don't know, I think I prefer the one that came out, not the Freddy touching poor little Jason. Oh, that's a bit weird. Number 4, Jason VOORHEES was never meant to be an icon. Friday the 13th was never expected to take off as such a huge franchise. Jason was never meant to be a big name in horror that he has become. He was simply meant to be the dead son of an actual villain. Remember that the killer in the first film was actually Jason's mother, Pamela VOORHEES, as Ghostface said in Scream. And she was the killer because camp counselors should have been watching Jason when he went swimming for the night for some reason, instead of having the rope elsewhere. After killing those teens, she decided that she would kill any counselor who would try and open the camp again. The only time you see Jason in the first film is in a flashback of him drowning in the lake and then jumping out of the water to attack Alice in her dream. Which is most. I don't think most of them knew it's going to be as iconic as it is today. But yeah. Number 3, the remake was just awful and ruined Jason. This is obviously someone's opinion. This isn't mine. I think the Freddy remake was way worse than the Jason. But yeah. If any of you is reading this article, you only know that Jason because you watched the 2009 remake. Just hanging in your head in shame. It's a garbage movie. It completely destroys the sense of terror that Jason might have in previous films. It opens with teens stumbling on grove that Jason has for some reason at his Camp Crystal Lake, and no one can tell me that someone else planted it since Jason kills everyone who steps in his property. The film then shows us how Jason managed to get around the camp so fast in time. Apparently, he dug out a secret of tunnels that he have opening all over the place that he might have managed always to appear in front of everyone running in the woods. It has nothing to do with him being scary, undead, tank. That he can appear whenever he wants because he's supernatural. Which I just think this is your opinion. It's not facts, but yeah, it's his opinion, I guess, or their opinion, I guess. Are you ready for a crazy one or a good one? Because this one is very interesting. With number 2, Jason watched his mum die. There's something I've always found interesting about Jason. In the second film, it seems that Jason really doesn't understand that his mother has died, since he keeps her head and sweater in a cabin at Camp Crystal Lake. And it seems that she is ordering him to kill from beyond the grave. But if he was actually this crazy undead creature all this time, that means that he is responsible for driving his mother to kill all the counsellors leading up to it, and in the first film. And even more than that, that means that Jason was around, or probably saw his mummy getting her head chopped off, which raises the whole bunch of other questions. Why didn't he step in and kill Alice before she could kill his mum? Why would he sit back and watch his mum get killed? But those questions will never be answered, because I think it's for a theory, maybe. If you want to see like a theory on why I think he didn't, let me know. But yeah, that's probably the most interesting one out of all the ones I've spoken about today. We are just gonna wrap it up with the last and final one, and it's just gonna be a simple one, because I've done the main one. I was gonna do it for the first one, but I just thought mix up and just do it for the second. With Jason Voorhees got his hockey mask at Friday the 13th part 3, which everyone probably knows about, but I'm still going to say it. Most of you should probably know this by now. If you didn't, then you probably haven't watched the series the whole way through. But for those of you who might be a bit behind, Jason didn't get his terrifying hockey mask until Friday the 13th part 3, which is literally what I said. This was the film that was done with 3D. Up until that point, Jason either had no mask at all or a bag on his head, with only one eye hole, which must have made it a real pain when hunting those teens down in the woods in part 3. There was a teen named Shelley who had a suitcase of random joke props, toys and costumes. One of those props was a mask that Jason decided to take. He also takes Shelley's harpoon gun, which was never explained just why he has the thing. He uses it to kill Shelley's crush. And yeah, that is the whole video for today. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a great Friday the 13th. Because I know I have, and I am. I love Friday the 13th. I love the films. And let me know what your thoughts are. And do you want me to continue the series or not? But yeah. Let me know what you want to see in the future. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.